Does the Bible hold the answer to one of the most debated topics in science? Scientists have long searched for clues about the origins of water on our planet. Geologists and astronomers have argued about it for years, but have never found a conclusive answer. And now, a new report in the journal Nature suggests that water originated deep in the earth, a view that some believe matches the description in the book of Genesis. So joining us now for more is Dr. Robert Stewart. He is the chair of science, the science department at Regent University. Thanks a lot for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much.
So tell us about this article in the journal and how does it corroborate what happens in the account in Genesis?
Well, the understanding for decades, at least the standard model that we assumed when talking about the origin of the Earth from a naturalistic perspective, is that the Earth was molten, was super hot because of collisions and gravitational forces, and that comets, which were very common in the area at the time, collided with the Earth and provided all the oceans that we have, the liquid oceans, with the water from these cometary sources. But as we've sent out probes and have gone to at least 4 different comets and taken a look at their elemental analysis, we've seen that the isotope concentration patterns that we found on the comets do not match those that are on the Earth, and therefore the conclusion is the water comes from somewhere else.
Okay, so the comet theory doesn't work. So what does this new article seem to indicate?
One of the possibilities that has been speculated about is that water came from the Earth itself, that it started here. And what this article does is confirm that there's large amounts of water in a hydrated form of minerals deep underneath the Earth, significant reservoirs that do match the patterns that we find in the oceans. And so it's not from a cometary source, but is perhaps from the planet itself, and which is what's more consistent with the interpretation in Genesis about the origin of water being from the surface, subsurface areas of the Earth.
So what has been the response to this article in the Christian community and in the scientific community?
Well, in the Christian community, it's because of its consistency with Scripture, it's been welcomed. In the scientific community, it's, well, that's another possibility. They've thought perhaps water came from microbial processes, from volcanoes, from dehydration, or rather condensation in the early formations. So this is another piece of data that people look at and try to understand how things work. From a biblical perspective, it's a nice agreement with what the scientific literature is telling us now.
It sounds like it represents a shift in the way scientists might view where water came from.
Yes, and science shifts all the time. What may be true today was not true before, and may not be true tomorrow. As we discover, we learn more, understand more, change our ideas, come up with new paradigms. And so it's a shifting framework that we constantly strive to improve. And this is another piece of data that appears to be complementary to what the Scriptures say.
How do you encourage Christians to think about science when it does contradict Scripture?
Well, we start with the basic idea that all truth is God's truth, and that what we find will be consistent with what we understand about the nature of God as He's revealed Himself to us. And so as we look at things in the world around us and possible interpretations of those things, we tend to use revelation as well as just the research in reconstructing how we understand the world works. So it's not just the research eliminating Scripture, but rather understanding that Scripture and the research in the scientific communities can come to an agreement that indicates they're both true.
All right. Well, Dr. Robert Stewart with Regent University, thanks for your time today.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.